Imagine you're living in the Middle Ages, a time when illness was often a death sentence, and doctors had no antibiotics, no vaccines, and no real understanding of germs. So, how did people survive everything from fevers to infections? What strange and bizarre remedies did they turn to in their fight for survival? Believe it or not, some of these odd treatments actually worked. From the power of garlic to the surprising benefits of honey, and even more unusual remedies, medieval medicine may have seemed bizarre, but it had some surprising successes. Medicine at the time was a blend of superstition, trial and error, and the occasional stroke of genius. People didn't fully understand the causes of illnesses, so they turned to creative and sometimes odd remedies to cure ailments. Garlic has long been praised for its health benefits, but did you know medieval doctors treated it as a cure-all for everything from the plague to bad breath? Without modern medicine, garlic served as their pharmacy, valued for its healing powers even though they didn't understand the science behind it. Packed with allicin, a compound with antibacterial and antifungal properties, garlic was indispensable. Medieval people didn't know about bacteria, but they saw its effectiveness firsthand. They used garlic in countless ways, raw, cooked, or mixed into remedies, to fight infections, boost immunity, and soothe wounds. During the Black Death, people carried garlic to ward off disease, believing its pungent smell offered protection. But it wasn't just superstition. Garlic was also ingested to cleanse the body. Therefore, it became both a charm and a practical remedy. For respiratory issues, garlic was boiled into broths to clear congestion, while digestive troubles were treated with garlic-infused tonics. While it might seem unusual today, garlic truly earned its reputation as a medieval medical marvel. Taken from the Greek for boring, in the Middle Ages, trepanation, the act of drilling or cutting a hole into the skull, was used as a desperate solution to treat a variety of ailments, such as severe headaches, epilepsy, and even mental illness. People believed these conditions were caused by evil spirits trapped inside the body. But while their understanding of medicine was rudimentary, they genuinely thought that creating an opening in the skull would release the harmful forces causing the symptoms. Medieval medicine at the time had limited knowledge of head trauma, and physicians often turned to trepanation as a way to treat head injuries. The idea was that drilling a hole in the skull would relieve pressure, drain fluids, or release bad humours that might be causing damage. The procedure was painful and highly risky. Infection or death was a common outcome. It was often seen as a last resort, performed only when other remedies like herbal treatments or bloodletting failed. Surprisingly, archaeological evidence suggests some patients survived trepanation, as their skulls show signs of healing. This resilience makes it one of the more fascinating and terrifying glimpses into medieval medicine. Dogs weren't just loyal companions. They were believed to have healing powers. For example, black dogs were sometimes placed next to sick children because it was believed they could absorb the illness and carry it away. Touching a dog or letting it sleep near an afflicted person was thought to transfer the disease, leaving the human healed. These practices often had no scientific basis and relied heavily on faith or coincidence. Dogs became symbols of comfort and hope in a world without antibiotics or modern medicine. Their presence not only offered emotional solace, but also reinforced the belief that nature, in all its forms, had the power to heal. This reliance on dogs for medical purposes might seem strange today, but it reminds us of how humans have always turned to their furry companions in times of need, whether for warmth, love, or even a bit of medieval magic. Honey wasn't just a sweet treat. It was a prized remedy in the medical world. People believed it had powerful healing properties and used it to treat everything from wounds to sore throats. While this may seem questionable, they were surprisingly onto something. Honey's natural antibacterial properties, thanks to its low water content and the presence of hydrogen peroxide, made it effective in preventing infections. Physicians and healers applied honey to cuts and burns to keep them clean and promote healing. They also mixed it into herbal remedies to make bitter medicines more palatable. Honey, therefore, became a staple in medieval medical kits and an essential ingredient for healing both inside and out. It's fascinating to think that while much of medieval medicine relied on superstition, their use of honey was grounded in practical benefits we still recognize today. Sweet, sticky, and surprisingly effective. The bark of a willow tree was a go-to remedy for treating pain and fevers. Healers would strip the bark, grind it into a powder, and brew it into a tea. It would ease ailments like headaches, joint pain, and inflammation. Doctors didn't know why it worked. They simply trusted the observations of earlier civilizations, like the Greeks and Romans, who swore by its effectiveness. Unbeknownst to them, willow bark contains salicylin, or salicylic acid, a compound that acts much like modern aspirin. This natural pain reliever was particularly useful for treating conditions like arthritis or the aches caused by illnesses such as the plague. Despite their limited understanding of chemistry, medieval healers had inadvertently stumbled upon a natural remedy that science would later refine and replicate in modern medicine. One of the more familiar remedies of the Middle Ages was leeches. The creatures were a staple of medical treatment, used to balance the humours in the body, an idea central to medieval medicine. Physicians believed that illness often resulted from an excess of blood, so they employed leeches to draw it out and restore balance. Bloodletting with leeches might sound like the ultimate medieval nightmare, but while physicians' understanding of human biology was deeply flawed, leeches weren't entirely useless. Their saliva contains anticoagulants and anesthetics, which can improve blood flow and reduce clotting. Leeches were applied to treat everything from fevers and infections to headaches and even high blood pressure. Their slimy efficiency became a symbol of medieval medicine. It's remarkable to think that while their world was full of mystery and superstition, medieval medical treatment was sometimes surprisingly effective, although in most cases, they didn't know it at the time.